What's going on, everyone? So the first 7 games for the New York Knicks are pretty tough, right? You got the Celtics, the Pacers, the Cavs, the Heat, the Pistons, the Rockets, and the Hawks, right? So your first 4 games are against teams that are going to be trying to compete for, a top 4 to 5 spot at worst, right? Celtics are probably still the best team in the league this season. You got the Pacers, who were just in the conference finals and beat you in the second round. You got the Cavs, who brought the band back together and are looking to be, a top 3 to, in their mind, number 1 seed, but realistically, probably top 3 to 5. You got the Heat, who now every year they just give teams fits. Pistons should be a cakewalk. Same thing with the Hawks. Rockets can be. Don't sleep on the Rockets, right? I don't think they're like, again, a contender or this great team or anything, but they got some talent on their roster, and they could be a tough out, right? And, you look at the Villanova Knicks, and there is a lot of expectation. They're coming off of the best season that they've had in like 20 years, if not more, right? And there's a lot of expectation. There is a lot of excitement. They got their college band together. And it is cool to see. It is really cool to see that, that they all have this relationship. It's going to be fun to watch. And, they do have a very talented roster. Getting Mikal Bridges, which they, for being honest, greatly overpaid for. I understand the desire to get Mikal Bridges, but man, that was like Rudy Gobert level trade. Now, look, if they make the NBA Finals or they win a championship, then it was worth it, right? Especially if they win a championship. I won a championship is what, like 74 or something like that, right? Like, so it's one of those things where, is the risk worth the reward for that? We're going to find out. We'll have to wait and see. But this team, without a doubt, is talented. Last year, even without Mikal Bridges, after the OG trade, I said that I thought that the Knicks were the second best team in the Eastern Conference. And I still believe it. I think Mikal Bridges definitely makes them better, but I think if everyone's healthy and all things are kind of equal, I still think Boston would beat the Knicks in a 7-game series. Although, I still don't know how the Celtics would do against adversity. The one thing I was hoping for all playoffs last year was the Celtics to run into some adversity, something to where, let's see if they are mentally tough now or if they just crumble. Because that's been the problem the previous years. Celtics have arguably been the best team in the league the last 5 years. Every year they're in the conference finals. Every year they're in the NBA finals. But they just couldn't get over the hump because just mentally they would get in these spots where things weren't going the way that they had hoped, and they would just fall apart. And they'd fall apart badly. Right? Like, even that first finals, they should have beaten the Warriors. That Warriors series should have been over swiftly. And all of a sudden, Warriors just start making a comeback, and Boston just crumbled. Folded like a house of cards, right? And so I really want to see if a team like the Knicks can kind of push the Celtics and kind of challenge them, make things difficult for them, right? I want to see a team like the Knicks really, I think that they match up very well, right? Because you can put, OG on Tatum and then throw like Bridges on Brown and just kind of match up, right? I think that is one way. Or you got Julius Randle, right? You have this versatility, but there are also questions with the Knicks as far as like the lack of stars, right? Like Jalen Brunson last season, really, dude was A1, right? Not afraid of the moment. Go get your buckets, right? He's the Knicks star. He's their best player. But this is more of a collection of powerhouse role players rather than like a team that has the 2 clear-cut stars. I know some Knicks fans go, we have Julius Randle. Julius Randle's that. Julius Randle really hasn't been that since that 1 year was like 3 seasons ago now going on. Right? Like, he hasn't been anywhere close to the player that was, like, looked at as this guy is the guy for the Knicks. Right? Julius Randle has not been great, and particularly in the playoffs. Dude is getting folded in the playoffs. And I mean, so much. I mean, there's questions like, do you trade Julius Randle, right? But again, he had that 1 year with the Knicks, in which he was great across the board, right? He shot 41% from three, on like 5.5 attempts. The dude he gave you 24 points. He was shooting he was 47% from the field, EFG of 51.6. The guy was a monster. He was 24-9 or 24-10 and 6 with a steal, half a block. Just absolutely killing it. He's not been that same guy since. He just hasn't. Right? I know even like, he's had, the following year he was like god awful. He averaged 20 points, but on like terrible efficiency. I mean, his free throw percentage dropped. He went from an EFG of 51.6 to 45.9. He went 45.8% from 2-point range. That dropped, and then he shot 30% from three. Since shooting 41% from three in 2020, 2021, his best season was 34%, and that was 2022, 2023. Right? Like, his EFGs have been down. Like, he's not the same player. He just hasn't been. And, last year he played 46 games. Now, he's been in the 70s the last few years, so there is this optimism. But the question is, like, can Jalen Brunson plus a lot, 5 blue chip rotation role guys, can those guys be enough to win a championship? Right? Boston, yeah, they don't have 2 top 10 players, but Jason Tatum is a star. You have Jaylen Brown, who he was their best player in that playoff run. You have guys like Kristaps Porzingis, who's been an all-star, and he's not a number 1, probably not a number 2 option, but he's supercharged third option, right? Like, just, can the Knicks stay up? I mean, you look at their starting 5. It's like Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. Whew, just sounds tough, right? You got 4 guys that can defend. You got 4 guys that make up for kind of Brunson's faults, so that way he can kind of just focus on being that scorer. But also, how does it mesh, right? Like, Mikal Bridges, yes, was like a third option or maybe 4th option, really, count Ayton, right? Like, on that Phoenix Suns. So he knows how to kind of be a part of the team rather than the guy, but it could be an adjustment for him. Him going from being able to take 20 shots a game to some nights might not even take 10. Same thing with OG. Is OG going to be okay? Like, does he reach a point where he's like, I'm not getting the attempts that I was expecting. I'm not getting the opportunity that I was expecting, right? Because Brunson's going to get his. Julius Randle's probably second in line in that regard. Julius Randle's probably going to get his. And then, everyone else in between. So you're talking Bridges and OG, probably going to be splitting that up. But you also have DiVincenzo, and you also have McBride, and you also have, Josh Hart. I mean, Josh Hart, careless. He doesn't, he's not a guy that's like, oh, I need to take, like, he doesn't have to take a single shot. He doesn't care about that, right? Like, that's not Josh Hart, right? He's like the perfect role guy. So, but still, like, is there going to be a little bit of, rocking of the boat? Are they going to mesh well enough together, right? The Knicks are, again, I still believe are the second best team in the Eastern Conference. I'm not saying the entire NBA, Eastern Conference. Maybe they emerge as the clear-cut second best team in the entire NBA. But, I do think that they're healthy. They should be in the conference finals against Boston. You get to the conference finals, anything can happen. You get a couple balls kind of fall your way. All of a sudden, you look up and you're in the NBA finals. Depending on the matchup, you could win. I mean, I don't think anyone would be shocked if the Knicks won the championship this year, right? I don't think anyone would be shocked if they're in the finals this year, right? Especially in the East, right? Like, I think you have the Celtics, the Knicks, and then I think everyone else is kind of clumped together. But same breath, can they get over that New York hump, right? Can they get over that kind of cloud of just, because they've had some good teams over the years, and it's just like, something happens, they end up missing or something. You just see it. Like some teams, no matter what, you look at teams like the Clippers and the Clipper curse. Like it just can't get over the hump. Boston the last few years just couldn't get over the hump. This kind of the Knicks Celtics year where they finally get over that hump after all this time. I'd love to see it. Knicks being good is good for basketball. So I'd love to see it. But however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.